talking about body paragraphs made easy. Claims, evidence, and explanation. Do you sometimes feel like Quiet Riot's song, Bang Your Head? Yes, you may even have blood spraying out of your face at the thoughts of having to write body paragraphs. However, you will survive. Hundreds of students at community high school have survived writing their senior papers. All right, so here's a basic formula. Go figure, I'm doing math. For basic body paragraphs, I follow this formula. I make a claim that supports my thesis. Then I provide a piece of evidence and add an explanation with it, and I multiply that by 2. So I do it twice. And then I have a concluding sentence that relates back to my claim equals a body paragraph. So let's look at this in one of my previous research papers. So I'd like you to take just a minute and read this body paragraph, or at least pretend to read so you have a good idea. We'll start with the end in mind. It starts with, service and military dogs positively impact the people they serve. You may want to pause it here so you can finish reading it. All right, so let's deconstruct that body paragraph. So first I start with my topic sentence, also known as my claim. So I make a claim about the overall topic that supports my thesis. So my claim is service and military dogs positively impact the people they serve. Now I'm going to provide some evidence. I'm going to provide a little explanation about why this might be true. This just expands on my claim or my topic sentence. So why is this true? Beyond the work the dogs do for their handlers, the safety and emotional benefits canines provide extend past their service. So now here I go to my example. This I get right from my BAO. This is why I did my research. So for example, a transition to let my reader know this is an example that supports that claim. In police work and the military, a canine serves as an effective deterrent and serves as a secondary force, which keeps a handler from resorting to deadly means in an altercation with a suspect. And you notice I put my internal citation, so I'm not plagiarizing. Next, I go to my explanation. So what is another way I can further help my reader to see what I mean? Explain how that evidence relates to my claim, or explain the evidence in another way. So I use a transition word, further. So how does it help deter deadly force? A dog's large size is often enough of a restraint to keep a situation from elevating between an officer and a suspect. Officers find that having backup with a canine partner brings them a greater peace of mind when on the job. And then this is where the ×2 comes in. I repeat this again. I continue to provide another piece of evidence of my original claim and explain how that evidence connects. So in addition, I give another piece of evidence about therapy dogs providing people in nursing homes and hospitals relief. And then over here, I explain it a little further. And finally, I do my concluding or closing sentence. I tie this back to my original claim, which was that dogs can positively impact the people with whom they serve. And bam, then I'm done with that. So again, the formula, claim, topic sentence, plus evidence and explanation ×2, plus the concluding sentence equals a body paragraph. This is just a basic formula. So now we're going to look at a real-time example with my current topic. So I go to my BAO, and I'm going to take this information right here that's highlighted in blue. And this is all my evidence, my paraphrases, and my quotes. And again, you want to have a balance of paraphrases and quotes. It helps if you go back to your BAO and paraphrase some of that stuff. Okay, so I'm going to write my next body paragraph. So I just paste that all right in there, and I ask myself, what claim do I want to make about this information, about the crackdown on criminal activity? So I might say something like, several factors of the 1980s and 1990s ushered in major changes in the juvenile justice system. Okay, there I got a topic sentence, and I can get rid of this junk up here. All right, so the next thing I want to do is explain that a little further. So, why is this true? Well, I've already done a lot of this work in my BAO in the paraphrasing, so I've got right here, juvenile justice crime rose during the 1990s, and as a result, states became tougher and automatically tried juveniles as adults for major crimes and weapon crimes. All right, so what's an example of this? So now I'm going to go to my example and evidence. For example, juvenile arrests for violent offense jumped dramatically during this time period, increasing to 64%. All right, so I'm going to explain this a little further. And what we had was during this time, the public began losing faith in the juvenile justice system to effectively rehab youth offenders and deter future offenders. All right, so now I want to have additionally, I'm going to use this transition word, additionally, we had the media coverage during this time was showing young people committing these heinous crimes. And then I'm going to put another transition in here. Therefore, during the time from 1992 through the end of the decade, all states except one created pathways in the court system, making it rather easy to try juveniles in the adult court system. All right, so now basically I have some evidence and explanations to talk about how factors of the 1980s and 90s ushered in major changes in the juvenile justice system. So I'm going to do my closing sentence, and I can refer to my transition word support, but I might say something like, all in all, the public and the court system felt there was a need to change direction in the way juveniles were being handled in American courts. I don't like that I repeated courts, but I'm just vomiting on the page. I just go here and then I'll make sure this is double spaced. I might read through it, but honestly, I just vomited on the page right now, because if I get hung up on every little thing right now, I'll never get my paper written. I go back and writing should not take very long. It's the revising and editing that will take 2 to 4 times as long. So get it on the page. And that is how body paragraphs can be made easy. If you have any questions, let me know, but go ahead and try it. And don't worry about having to bang your head.